These are some of the most famous of the many unpaved alpine passes you can find in the West Alps. And for this adventure, I decided to see how difficult they are for a beginner. But why am I doing this? A few weeks ago, I decided to do a little test solo trip, and it went, to say at its best, bad. Long story short, I did the Tête Section 14 in the north of France, had a good time, got too overconfident and went into too difficult terrain. So I got stuck in the worst imaginable manner and stickiest mud pond I've ever seen, so that I had to face the shame and get pulled out by a tractor. After this, I decided to take a step back and do something I believe to be more easy. But why am I doing it now and not before? When I started off-road riding, I didn't know if I was skilled enough to ride these famous trails. And I couldn't find any reviews that would help me to decide if I could do it or not. And later on I heard the people say, they're easy or nice for beginners, so I thought they were not challenging enough for me. And after my little dilemma, I knew I had to give it a try and see how beginner friendly they really are, and most important, to rank them just to help other starting off-road and adventure rider. But let's start at the very beginning. Good morning from Bourg-en-Bresse, close to the French Alps, a little bit more south than usual, but I wanted to spare you the thousands of kilometers or hundreds of kilometers through the rain on the highway coming down here. From here I quickly packed my gear into the prototype bags, which were lent to me by Thomas from EMD Adventure Gear. I didn't have any luggage system big enough to carry all the gear I wanted to take with me, especially with all that camera stuff. After that, it was time to head towards the Alps, where their first outliers were already showing on the horizon, welcoming me with some nice and curvy roads before I could make it to my first lunch break to get strengthened for the upcoming route I had planned. On my list for the first day's travel was the Georges de la Balme, which I definitely expected to be a little bit more exciting, but yeah, that was it. And after an unsatisfying long period on paved and straight roads, I finally arrived at the Col du Télégraphe. What I didn't know at that moment was that as soon as I arrived at the top, I could enjoy the first of many upcoming incredible views, not knowing that they seemed to become better and better with every target I reached. Continuing with a nice and curvy road upwards, the Télégraphe goes into the Galibier. But the really eye candy for the day was the Galibier with its 2,500 meters peak. As an interesting fact, once at the top, you can either take a tunnel to go through, or, what I would definitely recommend, to go over the tip and enjoy the view. On the top I gained a quite severe headache, so I decided quickly to move on and find a campsite. How little did I know that this was just the beginning of an unforgettable adventure. So, I finally made it to a camping ground. My head hurts, my stomach is turning around, and I think I definitely overdid it today. Yeah, put up the tent and look that I get a nice cold beer. So that's done. I
think I'm definitely gonna take it a little bit slower tomorrow. And well, let's see how we sleep today. And I need a cold shower. Good night.
Good morning. I definitely feel a little bit better than yesterday, but still quite exhausted. But the headaches are gone, so I can deal with that. The trails from the camping spot where I am are like 16 kilometers far away, so I can just build up my base camp here and do the trails. That's why I'm now going to make a coffee, and then we can start our journey, or continue our journey.
After drinking my hot coffee to warm up, I began my journey towards the Col de la Sierra. Unexpected but welcome, the trip started with a curvy mountain road, the Col du Mont Genèvre, which led me to a ski resort village called Sestriere.
And from here, we're gonna go up the Col di Asceta.
After this scenic drive, I began my ascent of the Col de Blégier, a part of the famous Ruta di Asceta, which meant for me I had reached my entry point for today. The journey started with a beautiful winding dirt road that led me up towards the mountain peaks. It was a very easy trail and a nice change of pace after the challenging adventures of northern France.
The Asceta, starting with the Col Bassett where I'm right now, might not be a very hard trail, but it's really nice because you can chill drive up and down, and the most special thing is, or the most impressive thing is, look behind me. The view here is incredible. I've never been on an off-road trail with such a view. It's astonishing. You see that? There's snow on the mountaintop. I love it. One of the only things you really have to take care about is that here is a high frequency of other travelers, like other bikers, mountain bikers, even cars. So you should always take it slow here. And I think the speed limit is 20 here anyway, so chill, enjoy the view.
Col de la Sierra is a part of an historic military road in the Piedmont region of Italy. Known as the Strada della Sierra, this high-altitude road connects various mountain passes and offers breathtaking views over the Western Alps. The key cols along this route include the Col de la Sierra, the Col de Blégier, Col Costa Piana, Col Bourget, Col Bassett, and Col Lauson. The Strada della Sierra itself is about 34 kilometers long and remains mostly above 2,000 meters altitude. It runs from Sestriere to near the Col del Finestre and includes various forts and military structures, all built in the late 19th century. At the top of the Monte Genèvres, I took a well-deserved coffee break where I had the chance to get in touch with many other riders from all around Europe. I'm usually a quite extroverted guy, so it's easy for me to get to talk to new people. And if you aren't but still want to meet new riders who you can do such travels with, you should try out the supporter of this channel, X-Element MotoNet. It's a browser-based platform that helps you to find your new riding buddy to do stuff like this. And if I would have had one at this moment, I'd even share my Belgian waffle with him. So don't wait too long and give it a try with its free plan. After I finished my break, I continued riding along the route towards the Col de la Sierra itself. This is on a scale from 1 to 10, definitely a super beginner-friendly experience, which I would put up somewhere in the 2 to 3 area at most. But you should be careful to respect the speed limit, because the Carabinieri often do controls here, as a person I met a little bit earlier told me. He also told me that they were at the Col della Sieta giving speed tickets, but when I arrived they were already gone.
As I said, very highly frequented.
And don't get too nervous at spots like this, because you don't want to test it and it looks like it's gonna hurt when you fall down here.
And of course, when you're on the way back, and in Italy, you need pizza.
And a beer or two with a friendly adventure rider you met at the campsite.
Poi arrivammo a Belgio, poi da Calais